Welcome back to the Mostly Legal Podcast, a show where we tell the stories of people who make law firms operate. I'm Amanda Koplos, Chief Operating Officer at Sheffield, Lohman & Wilson.
And I'm Rob Joyner, Senior Vice President of Business Development at Centerbase.
Today, we're joined by Jessica VanTroost, Chief Strategy and Operating Officer at McGlinchey Stafford. She knows a thing or two about building culture, leadership, and even having fun inside a law firm.
Jessica shares how she accidentally found her way into the legal industry, the unique culture initiatives she's helped create at her firm, and why leadership development is one of her biggest passions.
You'll also hear about her role in growing the Jacksonville chapter of the Association of Legal Administrators, her love of sports and football commentary, and her vision for the future of law firm leadership.
It's an inspiring, entertaining, and practical conversation. Let's dive in.
All right. Good morning. Today we are talking to Jessica VanTroost, who's the Chief Strategy and Operations Officer for McGlinchey Stafford. Your firm is based out of New Orleans, right? But you live in Jacksonville. Is that correct?
Yes. We like to say we're born out of New Orleans.
Okay. All right. You have offices all over the country, though.
We do. 18 of them.
18. All right. And you have personally traveled to all of them and built them out at one point or another, right?
Wow. Not quite all of them. I think there's still maybe one or two I haven't been to, but I've been to most of them. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So we like to start out with my favorite part, which is just your story. And you have everybody who comes into the role of legal management in some way has a unique story, right? We didn't go to school to be legal administrators. Some of us did, but very few of us. So tell me how you started out. Where did you come from? And how did you get into this crazy world of working with lawyers all day?
Completely by accident, but also I think it was my purpose all along. So one of those weird happenstances that ended up being exactly what I was meant to do. You got to go way, way back to college for this one. Stay with me on this journey. So I shout out to St. John Fisher University, my alma mater. Also, training camp of the Buffalo Bills. Go Bills.
Go ahead and break your table.
I cannot believe we made it a whole 2 minutes without you talking about football. That's on the topic.
It's a training camp. That's sort of how I got there. So when they were developing, way back when, before the Bills actually used that facility as their training camp, they were just developing the sports studies program when I came into my time at the university. And it was a very exciting time. And they had brought in someone to run that department named Michael Gibbons. And his wife helped out in the work study department that I worked in the basement of the library. We've literally dubbed audio tapes. And when I say tapes, I meant like tapes, not CDs. And so we would do that for the foreign language classes, had to use these lessons out of these tapes. And so that was my job. And so we befriended one another, and she was having a baby and they needed a nanny for the new baby that summer. And I volunteered and we became friends and started babysitting for everyone in their neighborhood. Well, they just happened to live next door to someone who owned a law firm. And so after many years of babysitting for that family, one day I was working in auto finance. It was fine. I didn't like it, love it or hate it, but it was an interesting field to work in. And so we were chatting about that one day after they had gotten home, after I watched the kids, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come work for my law firm?" And so I did. It was an interesting adventure.
Babysit the attorneys.
I know, right? Now he didn't disclose that at the time, so here we are. No, but it was sort of an interesting happenstance, and I did think I was a paralegal for about 2 weeks. Okay. And then this is only the things you can do when you're in your 20s, right? And you do not think about anything more than, sure, I'll take that opportunity. But it paid off in spades, and I'll be happy for that opportunity forever.
Awesome. And so now you've been at your current firm for 11 years, almost 12 years, right?
Yes.
And you've kind of had some different positions over time. This is your new foray into the chief role, which congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You have spent a lot of time kind of building this McGlinchey culture that you're famous for. And so I have a two-part question, and I'm going to let Rob ask questions later, I promise. But it's a two-part. You're going to have to
I wasn't
going to
say anything.
Okay.
Because the first part, I want to ask about how you build that culture and what makes you unique. And then I'm going to ask about changes you've recently made. And so that gives us a lot for you to talk about. Rob, stop shaking your head.
She's like taking all the questions and putting them into one.
Okay, how about we start with one?
Jessica.
How about we start with just one? Can we start with one? Was that okay
Sure,
with
go
you,
ahead.
Mr. Joyner? Jess,
Yes,
McGlinchey is known for its culture. You pride yourself on it.
we do.
And I've heard you evangelize. Why do I always do this? I can't get that word. I hear you talk about your culture all the time. Katie, please edit that out of me trying to say that word again.
No, don't edit it out. Evangelize. There you go. Keep it because I need something on Amanda. Keep it.
You're making me have tears when I'm laughing and I'm trying to talk.
Keep it. Keep going.
Oh, why can't I say that word? Oh my God. Okay, sorry. Jess, tell us about McGlinchey's Ministry of Fun and your culture.
So, our culture is something we are incredibly proud of here. It's something I think we knock out of the park, and that's something that I don't say lightly. It's something that we've really worked towards. Many efforts have gone into this. I just get to be the one that talks about it today and take the credit, but really it's so many people, really every single person that works at McGlinchey to buy into that and to really make it what it is. So we obviously were, like I said, we were born out of New Orleans. That city likes to have fun, so I always
Yeah.
say fun is not illegal at McGlinchey Stafford. We celebrate in different ways. We let each office be who they are, but also, celebrate under the McGlinchey umbrella in all the places that we operate. So, for example, here in Jacksonville, we have a culture that, we like to wear matching outfits. We like to celebrate weird
You guys
things.
really
National
like your
Pickle Day. Yes, not every office wears matching outfits on a regular basis. That is not a requirement to work at McGlinchey Stafford, but it is fun sometimes here in Jacksonville. So they let us run with it if that's what we want to do. If we want to celebrate National Cheeseburger Day or Jimmy Buffett Day, Florida's Florida. We lean into that, and they let us do that, and so that's awesome. Different offices do different really fun things. Boston has Patriots Day with the Boston Marathon. We let them, make that their own. Crawfish season in Baton Rouge and New Orleans, they really do it up. So we have a lot of fun celebrating each place we operate individually, but also as a group. We also brought into existence just after COVID, right around COVID time, something called the Ministry of Fun. The managing partner at the firm likes me to be very clear that we did not make this name up ourselves. He borrowed it from someone he knew in a managing partner forum. We can't remember how it all got to where it is, but we stole the name from somebody else, but they know about it, so it's okay. But we have then taken it and made it our own. So it's a committee. I co-chair the committee, so definitely biased, but I think it's something that's really fun. We talk about it on when we're recruiting to the firm. We use it internally for different things, and it's the charge of that committee is to develop opportunities for people in our 18 offices to find ways to connect and to feel like wherever their interests lie, they have a chair to pull up to that table and they have a group of people waiting to include them. And so that's really inclusion is the underlying factor in everything here, and we're really proud of that. We do many different things. We do a book club. We do sports. Sports are
lots of
easy.
sports.
Sports are low hanging fruit.
The snack bracket.
We
You do
do. Yep. We
The
do
snack
the
bracket.
snack it bracket. So believe it or not, there's a whole grouping of people who operate outside of sports. I do not know what they do with their free time, but I would love to know because clearly my every heartbeat and breath is linked to some sort of sporting event, which is ridiculous, but also the joy of my life. So we do the McGlinchey Snack It Bracket. It's in its fifth year now, and it mimics the NCAA tournament brackets. And everyone is each year is allowed to put in whatever snack they love. And then the committee goes through and picks the snacks for that year. There's different brackets. I think it's sweet, sour, spicy, something else.
What are
Can't think
some of
of
the
what.
winners?
So we've
I'm
had
really
the very
intrigued.
first year was ice cream. And then we've had Twix bar won one year, chocolate chip cookies, chips won, and then this year we had the first ever win from the spicy bracket with chips and salsa. So that was
Yeah,
our
but then you
Cinderella
actually eat
story.
you eat
Oh yeah,
the
yes.
snack throughout the year or whatever,
Yep. It
right?
becomes the McGlinchey Snack of the Year, and we celebrate it. It comes in and out of different things that we do for the remainder of the year until next year when we vote in another one. But it allows people, who really sports isn't their thing to still have fun. And we opened it up a couple of years ago. While it doesn't count to the direct results, we let the clients and our friends play along online too. So they get a little bit of an input and they get to have some fun and watch the results too. So
I feel like you should do like a cook-off with some of those too. Who can make the best salsa, maybe barbecue if that wins.
Maybe that'll be 2026.
Just extend it. Yeah, that's great.
Love it.
I love it. So we mentioned Jessica. Congratulations on your new title.
Thank you.
It's Chief Strategy and Operations Officer.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yes.
Amazing. So this was a new position for the firm. And
Yes.
one thing we often hear from people in the legal administrative profession, I can't say profession, Amanda. You can't say.
Okay, well, that's a much easier word to get wrong.
There we go. Yeah. I'm struggling. So anyways, we often hear about people that are trying to pitch a promotion or pitch a new position, I guess is a better way to put it, within their firm. Can you kind of talk about the process you went through to get to where you are and to get into the seat?
Yes. So to be clear, the position was pitched to me, but
Okay.
we did develop together what the title would be. So, and I say this at this moment in time, 72 hours in and absolutely drinking from a fire hose. So please note that as you're listening to this down the road. So I can talk about my 72 hours of experience and things that led up to this. So our firm has really well delineated lines in departments like IT and business development and accounting, right? They follow a very linear line. But when you get
Yes.
into what we do, and every firm does it differently. And big firms, small firms, it's difficult to put everything we do into one line. And so we were kind of scattered all over. There was administration kind of living here. There was recruiting lived over here, and then there was HR over here. And while we all worked well together, very well together, and met for many years, sometimes who was responsible for what and kind of making sure each group was rowing the boat in the same direction was difficult. And it wasn't anyone doing anything wrong. It was times have changed, priorities have changed.
The firm has grown exponentially.
Exactly. And I want to say requirements, but the desires of our employees and the desires of the members of our firm also have changed. COVID really twisted us around a little bit, and we were kind of, after the dust settled from all of that, I think the firm really said, hey, I think we could do this in a more linear fashion, in a more efficient way that keeps an eye towards a forward thinking, being proactive on things, being process improvement and process management minded without being harsh, like, oh, we're cutting, we're just cuts. That's not the point. It's really to look at, we've always done it this way, but have we taken a look at it lately and made sure we're doing it with the new technologies and with the new, people turnover, people leave, people join the firm. Are we using our resources efficiently and effectively? And that's.
So with this change, you also have reevaluated legal support in general, right? It all fits in that same bucket. And when you were telling us about this, it really is, you're kind of trying to revolutionize how legal support is delivered. And I know you're like, well, I don't necessarily want to use that word, but I think it is a little revolutionary. Can you talk about that and maybe just get some of our listeners' minds racing and brainstorm what we can do differently in our own firms?
Sure. And we've been taking a hard look at where are our pain points, right? That's where we started, and then we worked backwards. McGlinchey has worked with regional administrators very successfully for many years. That's where I started with the firm. And so each administrator has anywhere from 2 to 4 offices right now at wherever it makes sense geographically. Sometimes some offices need more resources than others. It just depends on the makeup of the office. But we started there, and then each administrator kind of with their office managing attorney, which varied from office to office, they had different strategies for that office or that practice group. And so we kind of stayed in those lanes, and it had worked for us. But what we were finding is, especially in a post-COVID world where we didn't need the assistant or practice group assistant sitting outside of the office of whoever they're working with or for. And that goes for all of our teams. Our business development team doesn't need to be sitting looking at each other all day long. We can very successfully work outside of that. And so that has made us a more, a firm that works more globally, I guess, even though I don't think it's quite that big of a reach, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're looking, but no one was really looking at it at a 30,000 foot level. Now, that's not to say our administrative teams weren't doing their parts, but it really wasn't anyone's job to just look at that one thing. And so one of the things we felt like we weren't using, so Susie in Texas might be really, really busy, but Joe in Florida might have capacity, but they're not talking to each other. And unless, their administrator happens to have a conversation with the Florida administrator. And while that was organically working some of the time, it wasn't working all of the time. And so we have added a position called the Director of Legal Support. And that person, who wasn't a regional administrator, so understands that side of it, is going to be doing that going forward and making sure that we're making good decisions, hiring when we need to, but not hiring when we don't need to, and working with the attorneys to make sure, they have their needs met. Even the practice group leaders in our firm, they're really busy. They're not sitting around with their feet on their desk just waiting for somebody to ask them about legal support. Usually when it comes up, it's kind of it's an in the moment, it needs a reaction, and now we have someone who's ready to go.
So firms used to do this with a position called the floating legal assistant or the floating legal secretary, right? It's kind of the impetus behind this.
Yep.
And so, that position is ineffective, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So that's exactly where this sort of evolved from, right? Post-COVID, we really couldn't justify spending money just having a floater in every office. It didn't make sense, right, on paper. And so while we've had some across the firm, that still doesn't always work. Maybe our bigger offices, that we can justify that. But one of the things that we've put in place that will also fall under this Director of Legal Support position is the SOS team. We have a McGlinchey SOS team. It's got a little logo, with a
Of course
nice preserver.
Do they have matching T-shirts?
No, but there is pins and stickers. So our business development team is off the charts. But so we have a team, and we've went through a couple of different iterations of this team. It started off right after COVID, just as extra set of hands, who could go into the office, who could mail a letter. And now it's evolved into a couple variations. We had, maybe 10 or 15 people, kind of a smaller group. Then we went to, okay, if you've been here 6 months or more, you're on this team and you can grab a ticket if you're available. There's been pros and cons to both ways. We are now in our third iteration that we're going to roll out in 2026, and it's going to be more of an elite task force, maybe the Delta Force of McGlinchey, if you will. That's, a tongue-in-cheek, but SEAL Team 6 for McGlinchey, right, where they can really lend support to the attorneys when they need it, who then are meeting, it's their job to meet the needs of our clients. So really, that's where it comes from, is meeting the needs of our clients, and then we worked backwards from there.
I love it.
Amanda's sitting here texting me and saying, I'm breathing loud into the mic.
We have worked together too long. If you start chewing your food loudly, it's over.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, okay, sorry. Maybe it's the noise canceling headphones. I can't hear
stop
it.
The whole podcast to talk about how loud you're breathing.
I'm just so engaged in what Jessica is saying. I'm moving closer to my screen.
They're going to have to back down your audio throughout this whole thing because of how loud
Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Katie for taking my
like,
loud breathing out. Actually,
did Darth Vader join this call and we didn't know?
Michelle would really appreciate this. She would. My wife. Okay. We digress. I will stop breathing loud, Jessica. But
just don't stop breathing altogether.
Well, Amanda might like that for the pull clip too.
Yeah. I could ask all the questions and not have to share. That would be amazing.
Oh my gosh. That's like your dream.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Centerbase, legal practice and management software designed to deliver optimal efficiency, profitability, and business growth for your mid-sized law firm. Learn more about how Centerbase helps you practice, manage, and grow your law firm with modern technology at centerbase.com.
So let's talk about something different. Let's talk about the Jacksonville ALA. right?
Near and dear to her
And
heart.
near and
One
dear
of
to
my
your heart.
passions.
I'm so excited for the first time to come, join the group and see all the excitement. When I think about the Jacksonville ALA, I think about you. And I know you've played a big role in revolutionizing and really up leveling the group or changing some things. Talk about what that's looked like and what makes the chapter different.
Again, just one brick in the wall. I am very passionate about this, but there was many, many, many others who have contributed and built the foundation long before I rolled on into Jacksonville. So definitely want to give credit to everybody who came before me. But no, it's certainly a wonderful group of people who genuinely like each other. I mean, I think that helps, but when I joined Jacksonville, the chapter was maybe somewhere in the low 40s, 42, 43 members. Pretty active chapter. I've been a member of a couple different chapters. And then I was asked to participate and be on the board. And I had the luxury, and it truly was a luxury, of having someone right ahead of me in succession for presidency who was very much a forward thinker, very much an innovator. And so she tugged me along in the beginning, by default, right? Those were her initiatives. But really, we learned, one, we worked incredibly well together and we sparked ideas, and then others contributed into that too. So we started small, and with just adding a communications director position to the board. And then from there, we built that out into, now what is our social media initiatives and all of that. I mean, back when I started, I think we had a Facebook page, maybe. I'm not sure. I definitely didn't follow it. So, but now, right, to what we've developed into now, it's been really fun. Different people have contributed in so many different ways, but now we have a culture where you can throw out a crazy idea and see if it sticks, right? If somebody wants to make a funny video, and they have an idea, 5 people will be like, "Yep, let's try it. Let's give it a try. Let's see what happens." And we are definitely always thinking to take pictures at events and work together really well on that. And again, all of that did not come right out of the gate. It was like, what do we have to post in the next 6 months? And we learned to really small what to do, and then we built on that and built on that and built on that. And that's
But
sort
you
of how
guys
it
do
developed.
all the fun, like if there's a gimmick on social media, Jax ALA has tried to recreate it. And it's but it's so revolutionary because it's a chapter of a professional association thinking like the way a business might approach social media or the way their members might be seeing it. And so it's created this kind of culture of relatability where people see it. And other chapters, you have spoken to other chapters about what you're doing on social media, how you're doing it, and how it has revolutionized. So it seems small, but I love to hear you say you're small but mighty. And
Yeah.
it seems small, but it also has had a huge impact. And I recently joined the Jacksonville chapter, all based off of this one event they have called the 904 Day. And listen, I want Jess to say it, but I know a lot of like area codes in this country. I know about, Mr. Worldwide 305 and, Pitbull. That's pretty much the only one I can say off the top of my head. But Jess, can you tell us about 904 Day and what that
Sure.
is? And it's such an amazing event. So I'll let you take it.
Sure. And just to back up slightly from that, we were looking for things that make the one thing that unites Jax ALA is Jacksonville, right? So we just honed right in there, and we try to celebrate and promote things that are in our common circle. And so a couple of years back, the city of Jacksonville started putting some emphasis towards 904 Day, which is September 4th. 904 is the area code of Jacksonville. I think we actually have added one now because we're big, but we just stay in the 904 Day lane. But yeah, so September 4th. And by the way, if you have one of these, like I encourage you to replicate this. It is something that we've had great success with. Both the city of Jacksonville has a lot of success with it, but also our chapter. And so September 4th each year we have 904 Day celebration. We use it's outside of our business partner plan. So we invite potential members, community members that we work with, and we have a big community connection program, but we invite them all out to just celebrate Jacksonville. And it's turned into, now we wear, there's sort of attire that has come along with it. There's 904 Day shirts, there's Duval shirts, there's, you can celebrate the Jumbo Shrimp or the Jaguars, or, which by the way, they're not terrible this year. So we're excited, 2-1. So we had some Jaguar shirts, we had all kinds of stuff that whatever makes Jacksonville, and we had some raffle items for things to make it fun. And we just celebrate all the things that make Jacksonville an awesome place to live and work. And so, and it's a very easy thing that people connect with. And we've had good success with it.
Jessica, so you've mentioned social media, you've mentioned 904 Day. I love everything you guys do. If there's somebody that's in the leadership for another small chapter, what are some other recommendations on how a smaller chapter might come across mighty or bigger? How can they really amplify their voice?
Absolutely. So that was something, again, back when we were starting out, we sat around a table and said, we have to think of this differently than we have up to this point, because we're never going to be Boston, LA, Chicago. We don't have the numbers, right? We're never going to have the numbers. And if that's what we're striving to be, we're going to fail right out of the gate. I was a secondary member. I am still a secondary member of the South Florida chapter, but I did live down there a year before I moved to Jacksonville. And one of their board members said something to me that really changed how we looked at things. They had said at the time, they had maybe 150, 200 members, and they had 40 active members, right? So they're saying when you put that into a percentage, that's what you're looking at. So Jacksonville, when we took that out of our 42 or 43 members, we had 22, 23 really active members. And when we broke that down and looked at it from a percentage, that's 50%. It's pretty good numbers. And so we started being proud of that. And we really changed the way we thought about it. And then from there, we said, okay, well, what do we want to be? Jacksonville can be anything it wants to be. We don't want to be New York. We don't want to be Boston. They're amazing and awesome. And we cheer them on and we like their stuff, and we'll jump in anytime they want to do a challenge or something fun down the road. We're all in, but that shouldn't be what we're striving to be. And so that's where we really put efforts on our branding for Jacksonville, but also, again, being mindful of staying under the umbrella of, we are part of the larger organization. A little bit what we do at McGlinchey, right? Each office has its own identity, but we're promoting the larger cause, or the larger entity. And so we did that, and we started connecting with local, we went after the local schools, right? Hey, we'll review resumes for you. Do you need anybody to speak to your business classes? Because ultimately what we decided we wanted was name recognition. There was so many people who did not know what Jax ALA was in a community where we had been operating for almost 40 years, and people didn't know our name. That's a problem, right? So we changed our whole focus to be name recognition. And once you have that goal, be surprised how easy it is for people to really jump in on that, because it wasn't hard. And people will be like, hey, I met so-and-so at another event I went to. I told them about Jax ALA. We'd go and connect them immediately on social media, so that we're putting our content out. Now we have a larger audience that we're interacting with, right? And that's following Jacksonville ALA. And after we did that well for a couple of years, members know who we are, and they're coming to us more easily than we have to go out and find every single person, and then they know somebody, and then they know somebody. And it works the same way for business partners too, right? So we can do more fun things and operate in the legal world that we know and love.
Well, I love it. Okay, so we've heard the ALA, and I love that. Jess, I want to talk about a subject that's very near and dear to your heart. We're going to get back to a meaty question, but first I want to talk about sports. And you need absolutely no prep for this. But Rob, I have pulled out a couple of things, and I would like you to guess whether or not this is something Jess has said in writing or not. Okay? You ready?
You want me to guess?
Guess whether or not.
Wait, should we premise this by saying I write the football pool? I don't just randomly send out these just sentences without a context.
Yeah, so one of the things that Jess does for Jack's ALA is she runs a football pool where you just make
Wow.
picks every week, and it's based solely off the winners, not based on lines or anything like that. And then on Monday and Tuesday of every week, you get a personal write-up from Jess, which I literally live for. I mean, it is pure comedy gold, and she trolls everyone. Nobody worse than the Kansas City Chiefs or the Dallas Cowboys. They get hit pretty hard. And she has 3 favorite teams.
I do.
So do you want to start telling us why you have 3 favorite teams? And then I'm going to read some of these things you
I
have
know.
started writing.
I'd like also to say I'm an adult in charge of, and you can root for as many teams as you want. There's actually no one who tells you can't. So here's how I got here. I grew up a New York Giants fan. I still love the Giants. My dad was a Giants fan. My uncles are Giants fans. They're just very hard to root for right now because they're hot garbage. I say that with love, but also reality. So I grew up in Western New York, about an hour and some change from Buffalo. So the Bills are near and dear to my heart. I've always rooted for them, whenever they were not in direct conflict with the Giants. Super Bowl 25. Anyways, so and then my adopted hometown is Jacksonville. So I have season tickets to the Jags. Please do not think that I'm like fancy. You can touch space from my seats. But I am in the stadium and I love it. And I love sports. So those are my 3 teams that I root for. Oh, well, I should back up and say I'm really all in on the Bills right now, kind of obnoxiously so. But
Yeah.
I make no apologies because I love Josh Allen. I love the Bills. And I just need them to win 1 Super Bowl.
But have you
So
ever?
Well, they just get really close, and then they just
Don't.
This is harsh.
You're triggering her.
We're not going to be doing.
Have you ever jumped on a folding table? That's the Bills thing, right?
So, I mean, it is. I think I'm going to need to plead the 5th on this. I've never ran and jumped on a table. Has there been tables in my life that I've seen? Are my friends? Have we sort of piled on? Yes, but no directly. I do, however, have this one I keep on my desk just in case I need to chop at any time. Someone's having
That's
a
the
bad
second
day.
amazing table, like, I don't know, decoration or desk thing that we've seen this season. I love that.
Etsy, really, you can do anything.
Etsy. Huh.
The best 13 American dollars I've ever spent.
All right, let's go, Amanda.
Okay.
A couple of
Sorry.
things you can guess whether Jess has or has not said them. Spoiler alert, she has said them all. Okay, number 1.
Okay.
As Eminem might say, the Lions had 1 shot, 1 opportunity, and they did not let it slip. Number 2. And if your football pick sheet still looks respectable, you're either lying or you've made a questionable deal with the football gods. Number 3, you have another Eminem reference, also for a Detroit
He's
game.
a fan favorite of mine.
I bet their palms were sweaty, their knees were weak, and their arms were heavy coming out of the locker room for the second half. But much like their number 1 fan and Detroit icon Eminem, on the surface, they were calm and ready.
How much of this is you writing versus AI writing?
So great question. And I absolutely will answer brutally honestly. Up to this year, everything was me. This year, I changed the format a little bit. Honestly, I just have less time to do some of the things. So I've changed it where I used to kind of write I do a little bit about each game, but I'd kind of write it in a full paragraph. I've broken it down to each game matchup. It allows me to do it now as the games. So I can, after the 1:00 games, I can do some of the legwork for it, which before I had to kind of wait and do it all in the morning at like 4:00 in the morning on Monday. So I just have less time to do that. So
They're amazing.
I do still write all the content, but I do polish it. I've started polishing it a little bit through ChatGPT this year.
Okay,
So
one more. Because no one thinks more highly of Aaron Rodgers than Aaron Rodgers himself.
am I wrong?
It's very true. No.
I also
Very
try
true.
to be fair and tease across the board, including my own teams, mercilessly. So
Yes, that's true. Oh, yes. It's pretty tough to be a Giants fan these days because they stink. Okay,
Prove
one
me
more.
wrong, please, Giants.
Literally one more. I know I'm
I
being
mean,
harsh with the criticism over here, but I'm trying to win a Super Bowl from the couch. And that doesn't happen with missed first down opportunities. I do what I do from a place of love. That's the best summary on that one.
I want to
Stand
be
by
part
that.
of the email chain.
I feel like Jacksonville ALA's entrance fee of membership fee is worth just these 17 weeks of write-ups from Jess. I'm just going to say it.
Well, can I talk about that a little bit and how
Sure.
we've
Sure.
used that? All right. So we've been doing this pool for years. And by the way, I will also note the football pool has made me a better writer. And that has proven like skills for my job, right? And it seems like a silly thing, but I had to get over the fact that I'm going to make a typo. I'm going to write something stupid. Somebody's going to not like what I write, right? And it really has made me a more well-rounded writer. So I'll say that. But so we've been doing the pool for years. We have invited all the members and then the business partners, right? It's a way where people don't have to sell to one another, right? They're truly getting to know each other. And if you find out, people come up to me all the time to talk about the Bills, right? I mean, it's a silly thing, but they know that I'm passionate about it. So if you know things about people individually, right, you're more likely to develop a relationship and then maybe you do business with them. Or you suggest them if you know somebody who's looking for that product or service, right? That's what Jacksonville tries to stay in that lane. That's what we're providing is opportunities for people to get to know each other and develop relationships. So one thing we started doing a couple years ago is really it was when I joined the board of directors. I started looking at it differently and I said, hey, these people would really on the board would really benefit from understanding our culture, and what better way than this football pool. So we talked about it at the local level and we made an offer after making sure we dotted our I's and crossed our T's to not break any rules. We offered up the board of directors for ALA International to join our football pool and get to know us. A lot of the people in our chapter, if you weren't on the board or you weren't volunteering at the international level, you had no way to interact with the larger ALA organization or the board of directors. And so this kind of humanized that relationship and made it a closer look. And then if one of the board of directors wins, we donate that winnings to the foundation of ALA. And so we found it was a nice way to make it a full circle. We were giving to the organization, the foundation, and we've found that to be wildly successful for us.
All right. We are going to move into some lightning round questions, okay? You travel a lot. You spend a lot of time on the road. If you need energy, well, this question says coffee or energy drinks for those long travel days, but you don't need to be awake on flights. You are like me. Tell me. So
this is a lightning round, Amanda.
This is a lightning round question. Lightning round question. Ideal way to fly.
Asleep.
Oh my gosh.
I find it it's perfect if I can be asleep when we kick back and then wake up as we make our descent. That is a perfect flight for me.
I could never do that. Worst legal administrator stereotype you want to bust?
Oh God, that were no fun. That were only rule followers.
I think you proved that to be wrong.
One law you would like to change to make your job easier.
I'm going to get hate for this. Y'all are putting me on the spot. Salary transparency. I feel like it's not fleshed out. It doesn't do what it's intended to do, and it makes both sides harder. And I'm happy to expand upon that for 2 to 3 hours if anyone would like to call me.
No, I mean, that is an amazing hot take. And yes, we could do an entire series on that. But I agree. It's been very, and it's what the most difficult is firms like yours who have offices all over the country,
yes,
where you have some states where you have to have pay transparency and other ones where you don't. And someone's looking at a role in California and why does this pay 25% more than what you're offering me in Jacksonville? It's
exactly.
like, well,
exactly right.
State income taxes versus no. We can go on and on. Okay. That's a good one. All right. You're going to take your firm on a retreat. You going to the beach or you going to the mountains?
Oh, I'm going to the mountains. I don't know where they're going, but I'm going to the mountains.
I mean, I feel like, that was too easy. It's Florida. Come on. Like, you want to get away. So what's the most overused legal buzzword that makes you cringe?
Circle back. And I use it all the time. I cringe at myself.
Okay. If you could automate one part of your job completely, what would it be?
Oh God, you did not give me any warning on these.
That's a point.
Um, calendaring, and I know it's sort of I have a
That's a good one.
complicated answer. So I like to look at everything. So I have a full year calendar. I have my electronic calendar, but then I walk into meetings a lot, right? And I want to talk while I'm looking, and my phone isn't big enough to do that, right? I don't always have my laptop with me. So I wish there was a way to smush all that together and make it better. I don't have the answer. If I did, I would probably do it.
An iPad that has a bigger calendar on it.
Maybe, but
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, Rob, you got one more?
Sure. Best piece of advice for someone wanting to move into a firm leadership role?
every opportunity for growth I have had is because I did more than what was asked of me. And I know that's also a hot topic, but take the opportunities to learn. For example, what I said with writing the football pool, it's a whole lot of work. It is hours that I could be doing other things. But through that, I've learned to be a better writer. I've learned I have relationships with random people across the firm who are also passionate about sports, and we go back and forth in the mornings. They might write just me, but you develop those relationships and those networking skills within the firm, and then for Jax ALA outside of just my firm. So do that. Take every opportunity to meet every single person that you can, because you literally never know when your nanny job is going to lead to the best career ever.
Okay.
I love it.
I have
That was good.
a deep question for you. This is not a lightning round question.
Okay.
Fast forward 20 years. You're retiring as COO from McGlinchey. You're interviewing someone for your position. You're with your managing partner. What's the one thing they hope that they say about the operational foundation and what you have built at the firm, and the one thing that they're going to hope to replicate in a successor? What's your legacy?
I hope my legacy is the thousands of managers, supervisors, and coordinators that come after me. That's the only legacy I think matters, right?
Yeah.
Is what it's not my successes. It's not anything to do with what I'm going to achieve. It's what I'm setting up for everybody behind me to achieve, because that's ultimately the success of the business and the firm, the organization, whatever you're working for. That's what it is. It's everything that comes after you. And if that's a success, then I'm successful.
That's an awesome answer. Okay. Rob, should I go into our final? I know I got the last questions. Is it okay if I ask the last?
It's okay. It's about you. Go ahead. Go.
Can't finish this up without one more knock. I appreciate that. Okay. Jess, our final segment is something we call Pitch Your Passion. And you're very passionate, so I don't know how you're going to pick one. But this is something, it could be some charity you work for. It could be something about your firm. It could be anything you're passionate about. Take a few minutes and pitch it to our audience.
Okay. And this is, can I pitch something that my heart desires to develop?
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
My heart desires to take the foundation of what we have built at my firm already, everybody that's contributed up to this point, and build a leadership academy within our firm. So, some cities have leadership, leadership jacks, where you're taking a group of up and coming potential leaders and you're developing those skills and moving them forward. My passion is to do that. I've had opportunities through ALA to do this and to develop my leadership skills. Not everyone has that in the same way that I have, and I'd like it to be a firm initiative that identifies future leaders sooner and gives them the skills to have conversations, learn how to listen, learn how to give feedback. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it has to be, pretty direct feedback. And so giving people the skills to do that, I think, makes a better firm.
So direct feedback, like you're breathing too loud.
Yes, exactly.
Or learn how to say evangelizing. Well, Jessica,
Bingo.
Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Mostly Legal Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
Stay tuned as we uncover more behind-the-scenes stories of law firms with the best minds in the business. And Rob.
Thanks.